Day 1 was all about getting Ebby used to his harness. I wanted him to be fully comfortable wearing his harness before taking him out for the first time. He has previously worn his harness for short periods and has seemed completely unfazed. Today, however, I left it on him for several hours. He was completely unbothered by wearing it, getting up to his usual trouble and constantly wanting to play. Part of the reason I decided that Ebby should be an adventure cat is because of how unbothered he is by change. Some cats might take much longer to adapt to wearing a harness. Ebby, being Ebby, just got on with life as per usual. Day 2 and time for Ebby's first trip outside. I took him to a local heath and his doggy brothers came along for support. I think having the dogs there really gave him confidence and helped him learn to walk on a lead. Ebby did so well for his first time outside. He was so good walking on the lead, although he did enjoy stopping to look around and explore the nearby vegetation. He did at times seem a little nervous, but was easily reassured, and I'm sure he will quickly gain confidence as a little adventure cat. Being outside was a whole new experience for Ebby, and I think he did so well. He just seemed to really enjoy it. And although he wasn't the fastest, he did really well on the lead, and I'm sure he'll grow in both speed and confidence soon. We then stopped for a short break. This allowed Ebby just some time to freely explore the area while remaining on the lead. I think he really enjoyed this, sniffing and exploring, whilst quite literally getting under the feet of his doggy brothers. We headed back and Ebby quickly picked up pace and confidence. I think Ebby really enjoyed his first trip out and he did so well. This will hopefully be the first trip of many. Day 3 and we headed to a nearby forest, and once again the dogs came along too. The forest gave Ebby a whole new kind of place to explore, new sights, new sounds and new noises to investigate. He did so well walking alongside the dogs on his lead. He's really growing in confidence and seems to really be enjoying being outside. He loves to explore and always wants to know what the dogs are up to. Considering this is only his second time outside, I think he's doing so well, but more importantly, he seems to really enjoy being outside. He's so quickly gaining confidence and exploring different types of terrain, different environments. He just seems to love exploring them all. We're out for longer today, and after a while Ebby got a bit tired, so he popped in his backpack to have a rest. However, he still enjoyed looking around and was very interested in everything going on around him. Soon enough, he was rested up and ready to start exploring again, whilst the dogs enjoyed some off-lead time. He particularly seemed to enjoy investigating the grass, furges and walking through all the leaves. He tried eating some grass and loved sniffing at all the different plants there. I think he really loves being out with his doggy brothers. They help him learn what to do and give him a bit of reassurance, although he doesn't like it when they get too far ahead of him. You can see here how he rushes to catch up with them, and I sillily drop the lead. However, once he's caught up with them, he stops and waits for me too. Once again we stopped and had a little break, and the boys enjoyed some chicken. I think Ebby really enjoyed just lying in the sun. Day 4, and it was pouring with rain. We waited in the car for a bit to see if it would lighten up, but unfortunately it just continued to pour. We did head out, but with Ebby in the backpack. After a while, I tried getting him out and seeing if he wanted to walk along. However, he chose on his own to get back in his backpack. I want his backpack to be a safe space for him, so if that's where he wants to be, that's okay. He can still enjoy looking around and being outside. The dogs, however, enjoyed their time out. We then headed to a local pet shop. This was Ebby's first shopping experience. The cold weather had made me realise he needed a little coat or jumper to keep him warm on colder or wetter days. The shop had a good selection of dog jackets and jumpers, and we managed to find one small enough for Ebby. We also grabbed some tasty treats for the dogs because they'd been so good, and then we headed home. Day 5, and we headed up in the car again. Being in the car is not Ebby's favourite thing, but he's getting better and better. Unfortunately, it was another wet day. Once again, Ebby seemed to prefer being in his backpack, but he was still interested in everything going on around him. He did, however, get out for a little bit and have a little sniff around and explore. However, at this point, he clearly asks me to come up, so I pick him up and give him a little carry and reassure him. He's still enjoying looking around at everything going on. Clearly indicated that he wanted to investigate this tree further. He did get down and walk for a little bit when it stopped raining quite as much. You can also see him here wearing his lovely new red jumper we bought yesterday. We stopped and had a rest as per usual. And then I carried him home in his carrier. He enjoyed looking out the side. And yes, he does have a panda to keep him company, and so he can rest his head on it. Once again, we headed back in the car. Ebby seems to do better in the car when he can have his head out and looking around. He really doesn't like it if he sits the cover up. We headed to another pet store just to give him some more experience of being out. Day 6, we had a more relaxing trip out and went to a local park. We found a nice spot and just sat on a bench for a little bit. Ebby started off in his backpack, looking around and seeing where we were, and also enjoying a tasty little treat. After all, he thinks that's a good boy this week, he deserves them. After a while, he decided to get out his backpack and started exploring. First off, he stayed on the bench and sniffed around him. Getting more confident, he did jump down on the floor and started exploring the area around. This was also Ebby's first trip outside without the dogs to keep him company. I think because of this he was a bit more timid this day, but he still seemed to enjoy himself. Peekaboo! Here he was, having a bit of a fail moment when trying to jump on the bench. As you can see, he's a bit unsure at first after falling, but quickly tries again. And this time he manages it without falling flat on his butt. Here, he's got the option of going back in his backpack if he wishes. However, he chooses not to, and instead comes and sits with me. I'm hoping this is a sign that he's getting more confident being out and about, not needing to go back in his bag so much. However, he's always got that option if he wants it. Instead, he just enjoys sitting with me and having a bit of fuss. I think he enjoyed exploring the different areas of the park. He loved looking out over the lake. I don't think he'd ever seen so much water before. He seemed to have a great time sniffing at all the new plants and all the new environments in the park. Considering this is the first time he's been out without the dogs, I think he's doing really well. Being without the dogs also means he can go a bit slower and explore a bit more. This is just Ebby pace. He did so well on his first solo trip and even walked most of the way home. Day 7 and the weather was slightly better, so we headed out with the dogs again. I think Ebby does prefer being out with the dogs, or at least he seems more confident with them. He's definitely growing in confidence. However, every now and again he seems to like to come back and have a bit of reassurance before going up and exploring again. He also seems to prefer walking alongside the path on any grassy verge. Maybe it's softer on his paws for him, or there's just more for him to sniff and explore. Although at this point he did get himself a bit tangled up and needed a bit of help getting out. However, that didn't stop him, and soon enough he was walking alongside nicely again, with the occasional stop to sniff at a new plant or something interesting alongside. He's not the fastest, but he's really good at walking on a lead. When he stops, we let him have a little sniff before encouraging him on. To encourage him to walk alongside in the right direction, we don't pull on the lead. We simply walk along, stopping when he chooses to sniff, and then calling him on. If he tries to go in an opposite direction, we don't pull on the lead. We just wait until he moves in our direction and then we carry on walking. We'll continue his training and he'll become even more confident being out and about. But he's done so amazing for his first week. But most importantly, he seems to have enjoyed it. He seems a real natural adventure cat, and I can't wait for all our future adventures. Please like, follow and subscribe to keep up with Ebby's adventures.